Hi, this is Professor Cordes, and this is the Week 4 lecture video for English 123 Intermediate Composition. We have one thing to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen, and that is your proposal. Up until now, you have gathered your research, you've developed your ideas, you've evaluated, synthesized, and annotated your resources, and now it's time to formally put our proposals into kind of a structured format that details and outlines exactly how we are going to contribute to that academic conversation. So even though you've done discussion boards, you and I have had communication going back and forth in dialogue about your topic and where to move it and how to present it best. Our proposals are essentially, how do we, in the academic world, formally say, this is how I'm contributing to the conversation. This is my position in this discussion, in this argument, and here's my information. So really, if you look at the requirements, there are three things that you need to include. One would be your tentative thesis. I've already previously stated that your thesis may change as you write your first draft, which is perfectly fine. But right now, you should have a pretty solid, firm thesis statement about the point you are trying to prove, okay? That's one of the very first things. We need to make sure that that tentative thesis is identifiable, that it is strong, that it's got a good direction. You guys gave each other feedback. A couple of you guys have actually referenced and talked to me about your thesis statements, and I've given you some quality concerns or suggestions for improvement. So we need to have that thesis statement. That's going to be our very first item. The second thing that we're going to do is we're going to have a one-page proposal, okay? And if you look here, it says, this indicates the reasons for your writing about the topic, your pre-writing process so far, okay, and any challenges you anticipate in the project and how you tentatively plan to overcome those challenges. Essentially, we want you to talk and express about, here's my topic, and here's the direction that I'm going in. This is how I came to these conclusions, and this is where I want to go. I foresee maybe this as a challenge or this, and I'm going to prepare myself for success in these ways. So really, this is a way for you to kind of process, maybe even the word decompress is a good way to put it. This is a way for you to formulate all of your thoughts that you've been working on for the last 3 weeks. And as we venture into this fourth week, you are kind of beginning to put the pieces into place. One of the biggest things about this is that you need to obtain what's known as the academic tone or the academic voice. To write a proposal and to make it personal, like I think, or we as society, or reference to the reader with the word you, or your, or we, or us, or our, any of that type of items, that becomes personal, and that dilutes the academic quality that we are going for. So one of the strongest things I'm going to mention and suggest and tell you to fix before you go into your drafts is to remove that personal voice. Okay. You have written about something that's interesting to you, passionate for you. However, you need to remove yourself and the reader and create an academic sounding board. We need to have that academic tone, and we do that by removing the personal voice. So instead of saying, I think that the world of history, da 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 da, you want to remove the I think and just go straight into your thoughts and ideas, simply because that removes it from like a Dear Diary moment into the academic world. Okay. You want to sound professional. You want to sound, or having that academic rigor, or demeanor, maybe that's a better word to use. And so by removing the personal voice in this one-page proposal is going to be so detrimental, that's the wrong word, so beneficial for you in the long run, okay? Keeping it in would be detrimental. The last thing that you have here is your works cited, your reference page. This, ladies and gentlemen, can actually be the same references and resources as you did for your annotated bibliography. You do not need the annotations in the proposal. You simply just need the references. I'm going to suggest taking this as an opportunity to have proper MLA format or APA format. You want to double check all of your resources. If you go to Al Purdue, okay, if you go to Al Purdue and you go to their writing lab, you can come over here. There's an MLA guide and there's an APA guide. Let's say we pick up on the APA. They're going to offer you ways in which that you can format. So in-text citations, which goes into your draft, you're looking at the reference list to make sure that you have proper format. I know a lot of people use like EasyBib or citation generator. There's a lot of great internet resources. Sometimes they just don't include everything. So you need to go over here. Also, all of your textbooks that you have in front of you probably have a guide in them as well, or should have a guide in them as well at some capacity. So let's say if I wanted to do MLA, it's going to be the same thing. Here's how it looks for a work cited, right? This is how I put my information in properly. So when you are going for your proposal, you are going to make sure that you have a proper MLA format. We might as well do things correctly now instead of waiting until we have to get to like the final stage and we are scrambling to put together everything else. I would rather us do the work now than have to worry about it later, okay? So you can see the rubric here. This is how you are graded upon. Obviously, grammar and mechanics is going to be necessary, especially for that one-page proposal. If you look right here, ladies and gentlemen, this is an example from a previous student. They've got their thesis statement up here at the top, very straight, direct, and assertive. And then they've got their page response. They drift over into the next page, which is perfectly fine. I want students to explain themselves well, and that's what this student is doing. And then as you see and you continue down, you'll notice that they've got their citations right after it. So those three components is really what I'm looking for. The proposal that you actually put forward, this one-page proposal, can actually be part of your writing later. If you want to use it as part of your introduction or part of your conclusion, that's perfectly fine. But remember, you're kind of saying like, here's the topic that I'm thinking of. Here's how I came to this point in the academic conversation. This is my thought process in regards to the position that I have for this argument. So with that being said, it's very important that we flesh out our ideas, we explain ourselves, we're articulate with the words that we select and what we exactly want to say, okay? As you go through, if you have a question or concern, please email me. I'd love to be in dialogue about what you're putting down and how it's going. For this assignment, I'll probably respond with a whole bunch of comments in the feedback section in Blackboard. When you go to see your grade, there's a place for like teacher feedback. That's where my responses will be. This is the last thing that we do before we start our draft. So it's very important that we kind of really firm up what we are talking about and we're able to explain it well. If you're still having difficulty explaining your topic and explaining your thesis at this point, then we need to move on to something that's a little bit more tangible, something that's going to be something that we can step into with confidence for the academic world. Okay. So email me or message me if you have any questions or concerns about that, but take the time. You're working all of this week is simply the readings. You've already watched this lecture if you've gotten this far in the video, and then you'll put together your proposals. Okay. Email me or message me if you have any questions or concerns. Have fun with this. I'll talk to you guys soon.